This is the Fifth Estate Winning Headlines, your media police post. In this segment, we summarize some of the headlines that you might have missed this morning. But we also take a look at the political pieces that we call cartoons in this country. Today is the 25th of April, 2019, and I am 2J.
I am 2M.
And I am Miss K, your host. Again, in case you missed it, this is Winning Headlines. Let's take a look at today's headlines. The Star. MPs want DCI to probe key PSs. The Standard. Shock report on debt even as UHURU goes for more. Do you remember more, please? And Daily Nation. MPs vote to kick out Huduma Namba firm. Right. Let's start with the Standard.
Yes.
Shock report on debt.
I don't know about you, I don't like the headline. Just the grammatics of it. I feel like it's a bit difficult to read. It needs more. It needs a full stop or a colon or something.
Yeah.
Shock report on debt even as UHURU goes for more.
You know, guys, in my mind I have some conflict. I'm conflicted, right? I don't know whether this amount of debt that we are piling up is okay for us or it's going to be disastrous. You see, when Kibaki launched Thika Road, I think that was around 2008, people did not have kind words for Kibaki then.
Yeah.
All right.
But they do now.
But much later,
They're grateful, more than grateful.
They're very grateful. All right. I do think 3 years from now, country will sit and say, aha, maybe this is where this man was going.
So are you saying that UHURU should just weather the bad storm?
I think he has already made a decision. If it's bad, continue with it.
Okay, here's the thing that I think you're trying to say.
Yeah.
I'm going to say it. I think what you're trying to say is, yes, there's a report that's come out that says we have a lot of debt.
Yes.
But our debt to GDP ratio is not uncommon.
It's
This
not
is not
uncommon.
peculiar.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's not peculiar.
We had 56% of debt to GDP, right? Japan is on 220.
Yeah.
The States is about 112%. Yes, they are first world countries, they're exporting
They're larger
countries,
economies,
right?
yeah.
But guys, if we are going to go to the next level and fill our infrastructure deficit, we need to do something drastic as well.
Yeah, I completely
Then I
agree.
think the other thing that you're trying to say is that when Kibaki was implementing the vision he had for us,
Yes.
we could see where he was going
Yes.
and we could predict what it was going to do
And
for
I think
us.
that's the
Actually-
biggest problem right now. As
actually-
we've discussed before.
Yeah.
Start with why.
Yeah.
UHURU unfortunately has failed to give us the why to justify this debt.
No, I actually think UHURU has given us the why. The thing is, people don't understand him, and there's mob psychology in this country. And for the first time, guys, you're hearing me defend UHURU. During Kibaki's tenure, we called him names. We said hands off everything, feet off, heads off, and all that. But when 2013 came, we sat back and we said, aha,
That was
this
a good
man knew
president.
what he was doing. So I think let's just give UHURU some time. I don't think UHURU is responsible enough
Yeah.
to take us to a hole that we don't know about.
All right.
So you're trying to tell us that we have a crisis of misunderstanding. We do not understand what the president is trying to tell us.
I suspect.
But it is not up to us to try and figure it out.
Yes.
It is up to the president
To
Yes.
explain to
it
us.
to us.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
To tell us
Yes.
what he's doing
Yeah.
and for us
Yeah.
to now follow his vision
Yes.
through.
And we have to emphasize the book we mentioned a few episodes ago. Start with why.
Yes.
I think in order for UHURU to explain to us what he is doing, he needs to explain and justify what that why is.
Yes.
Once he does that, the country will rally behind him easily.
Regardless of what the debt to GDP ratio is, because
he's
we
taking us places-
understand where we're going
Yeah.
and why we need the debt.
I don't
Toss
like
it.
the headline, the picture is lazy, Gado could have done better, useless.
Okay, nation.
Yeah.
MPs vote to kick out Huduma
Namba.
firm.
As I read this headline, I saw a statement from CS Musheru, CS for Information and ICT, whatever he had. And he said that whatever these MPs did yesterday will not have an effect on the Huduma registration. All right, and that is because they purchased these things to register people from this Morpho company, the French company.
Yeah.
But the software that runs these devices is
Built in
it's
Kenya.
locally designed.
Yeah.
All right.
Still doesn't answer the question of the data. So where does it go?
Yeah,
France? Can we access
Yeah.
it?
There, though, maybe he should have said it in the
I
statement.
think that the MPs were right to question this company, this French company. They've changed their name a couple of times, so they're morphing identities. We don't know who they are. It's very suspicious. And considering that they're dealing with our data, they dealt with voter registration data back in the election, it's worrying. So first of all, I hate Huduma Namba. I refuse to sign up.
But
so they can go, all
guys,
of them.
I think this is a PSC thing. Who
Some dissent from the floor there.
This is a PSC thing. PSC is led by a man called Opio Wandai. He's the chair of this committee. Now, I feel that they are protecting Raila's name because they are on record, right, during the Supreme Court ruling and everything, that this Mofo company, this French company, it had irregular deals with government. So they are just making sure, just in case Raila pulls away from the handshake,
his position is secure.
So I'd like us to do something.
Yeah.
You see, this is an MP headline, and the star is our remaining headline. MPs want DCI to probe key PSs.
Yes.
I feel like we're deep in Parliament and we're staying in Parliament.
Right.
So first I'd like to give us our criteria.
I was going to ask you to
Then we look at both of them together and see what we're going to do about them.
Yeah.
We have a 3-part criteria that we use to break down the headlines for you. We ask ourselves 3 questions. Are these headlines topical or are they speculative? Are they repetitive or are they groundbreaking? And finally, are they thoughtful or just plain lazy?
Right.
Now, here, the MPs are trying to say that almost every ministry and a couple of
department of government
schools
is corrupt.
are corrupt. And this is based on the Auditor General's report, and they want them to be probed and investigated.
Yes.
I think that these 2 headlines and the debt one are all anti-UHURU.
Oh, yes.
So,
And it is a systematic scheme, and he's not seeing it. It's a systematic scheme to bastardize his government. All right? There is corruption.
Strong words.
There is corruption. There is Huduma. Everything is just being cancelled.
So what do we think about this headline? Can we
I
toss it?
say that they are all trying to create discontent in us as the public.
Yeah.
There's a war,
Yeah.
A cold war.
a cold war,
Yeah.
and it's a play
Yeah.
that resides in Parliament. And it's against the executive. So I say we toss
We
them.
toss both, most definitely. We do not have a winning headline.
Absolutely.
On to our next segment, the political pieces that we call cartoons in this country.
Yes.
And just like the headlines, we have a 3-part criteria that we use to break them down for you. We ask ourselves 3 questions. Is the cartoon humorous or is it dry?
Yeah.
Is it satirical or is it pessimistic? And finally, is it effective
Yes.
or just plain lazy?
Yes.
I say we start with The Nation.
Yes, Victor Ndula.
We tossed it first with such
Yeah.
gusto.
Honestly, I'm not a fan of this cartoon.
What is it saying?
Okay, give us a description to
Okay, I think I see what Ndula is saying here.
All right, describe the cartoon first.
It's an ostrich, right? And it's hidden its head in a Bible.
the sons of the word of God.
Yes. And all dirty money, and the caption is, all dirty money is clean unless proven otherwise. Hustler's Prosperity version. So that's like the Jinx, whatever version. Chapter 3, verses 4 to 35, right? And I think what Ndula is telling us, the church
Which is the ostrich?
Yes, which is the ostrich. It's burying its head in the sand. And he's right.
Yeah.
And I said it yesterday, Jesus walked with wicked people, right?
Yeah.
Even Rahab used to take part in that profession that you two know about. So, and it has many other problems to deal with other than judging how the offering should be dispensed.
But what I find interesting is who he quotes. You know, I think that there's been a reference, and I don't remember whose cartoon it was, to Hustler Bible.
It was Gado a few weeks ago, yeah.
Yes, and when he referenced that, and he's referencing that that's not what the church is saying. The church has refused to comment on the matter, but it commented. We spoke about this yesterday.
Yeah.
But that all dirty money is clean unless proven otherwise is a statement that is attributed to the king of the hustler nation.
Yes.
Interpretation yourself.
Let me ask you, where is this cross lying? It is lying outside of the Bible, correct?
I think you're reading too far into it.
But
I think
still
you're reading
clever.
too far into it.
Very clever, in my view.
Yeah.
Toss it, toss it, toss it.
All right.
I say we go to the start
Yes.
in that order.
I think there's a great cartoon from Ozone.
This is lovely.
So we have a crossroads. So it's a crossroads that looks like a cross. And we have a priest, or is he an archbishop?
Whoever is
Whoever he is, a
church.
representation of the church, holding a mask that has a dollar sign on it.
Yes.
And if he chooses to turn to the left, he will follow the money. Is that to the right as well?
I think the money diminishes as we go
As it
this way,
goes,
so
yeah.
it's increasing in size as it goes to one half of the cross.
The crossroads is on the cross. The horizontal part is lined up with money. But I think my view is he's trying to, he's a bit confused. Do I continue going straight, the path of fidelity and righteousness?
On the straight and narrow.
Or the streets of Jesus, but at the same time carrying the shepherd's mask, the one the archbishops carry, but his is tied to a dollar sign, right? Or I continue going straight. Are you saying this?
No,
Yes,
or
I'm
I take the money.
Because he's turned towards it and he's contemplating it, but we don't know what the decision
I think it's a fantastic cartoon. The only thing that ruined it for me was a caption that says crossroads. I think it would have been perfect if he just left it
I think he needed to dumb down for some people. They would not understand this.
Put it in the parking bay.
Yes, parking bay.
Let's look at it against Gado's cartoon in the Standard, which I particularly liked.
Oh, this one's fantastic.
I love this.
So good.
Right? Caricature of a transaction happening here. The one end of transaction is a caricature of Uhuru Kenyatta. Really looking giddy, like on
His eyes are like about to bulge.
Yeah, and he wants to grab this cash that he's been given. And behind him is Right Honorable Raila Odinga, and he's also his fingers. He can't keep. His
tongue is sticking out,
salivating.
Well. Yes.
Their eyes are bulging.
Yes.
Oh my goodness!
And so they're meeting some Chinese officials.
This is the Chinese president Xi Jinping, and is being served Sri Lankan tea.
Sri Lanka port tea,
by his butler, and next to it are Zambian cookies.
Yeah.
Now, the context of this is, I think China has attached Sri Lankan assets and Zambian assets because they did not pay back. They defaulted.
They were unable to pay back.
Yeah, so the caption
ceded
says, "You know what we do to defaulters."
To defaulters, right? But in a mafia setting,
we have them for
for breakfast. In a mafia setting, made men normally go to their bosses, to the dons, with so much respect. And if you see closely, Uhuru Kenyatta has removed the prince crown from his head and is holding it like in respect.
Gado is suggesting who his master really is.
Precisely.
Yeah.
I do like this cartoon, I have to tell you.
It's fantastic.
I thought it was funny the moment I started looking at it. It made sense. It was so layered. I found it hilarious. And it was satirical, just played on that satire without getting into full-on pessimism.
It reminds me of drug addicts who are about to get their next hit, and they're just scratching themselves, so excited.
Yeah.
Can we say this is
yes. This is a winning headline.
This is a winning cartoon.
And you know why? Who would have expected Raila would be here?
That's true.
Oh yeah, that's
so we toss the Star, honorable mention, but
and the Standard gives us our winning cartoon.
Yes.
I stop asking. Please give us our final thought.
Now, our final thought. It is a book. It's inspired by a book called Smarter, Faster, Better, right? By Charles
Duhigg.
Duhigg.
Should I just take over?
I think it's a tag team.
I have it.
You got it.
Right? And it brings out two concepts. One is cognitive tunneling, and the second one is cognitive closure. Ms. K, you want to tell us a bit about this?
Okay, I'll tell you about cognitive closure because cognitive closure is the first step and then cognitive tunneling is the second step. And 2J will take us through tunneling. Yeah. So for cognitive closure, it's the desire of human beings to eliminate any ambiguity that we have. Yeah. We want to come to a definite conclusion about any topic or any issue. Yeah. So we cling on to something. Yeah. Now, I'm going to explain it using the Yom Kippur War. Yes. There was a general in Israel, his name was Eli Ziar. Yes. And he was the head of the Directorate of Military Intelligence, and their job was to explain to Israel when the enemies are going to attack. Yeah. Now, before the Yom Kippur War, he had fought in the 6-Day War earlier, a couple of years earlier, and he was really good at it. He had demonstrated Israel's superior air power, they had acquired territory, they had proved to the enemies that they were able to defend their territory, but they also gave themselves a healthy fear that they will be attacked in a retaliatory attack. Yes. So he was to warn Israel, should this happen. But he had a criteria. He said they can't attack us on a holiday, they know that we are too strong, so they can't attack us in any way. So regardless of the fact that he could see, and there was evidence that there were signs that the Egyptians and the Syrians were kind of lining up in Golan Heights, and they were advancing and mobilizing towards Israel as they went towards Yom Kippur. So the holiday. He would get called into meetings, and he kept telling everyone, up to and including the Prime Minister, we could never get attacked because I came up with an accurate strategy.
Yes.
I call it the concept, and because of the concept, I have a definite answer that we cannot
They
do
will
this.
not attack us.
So he tunneled using his concept, and he gave himself a definitive answer. Israel is too strong. We will not get attacked.
And what happened?
They did get
Got
attacked.
attacked. Yeah.
And they were surprised.
And they were very,
surprised.
very surprised.
Yeah, they did not expect it to happen on a religious holiday.
Before they could mobilize the people, they had to get them out of the synagogues.
Yeah.
It was a bad day for them.
Yeah.
So kind of just bringing it back to the book. Do Higgs investigations focus on some things, mostly big picture versus small picture, the forest and the trees, large goals, small goals, and how you need to have a balance between those two. You can't always focus on short-term goals or just always focus on long-term goals.
Yeah.
And that our need for cognitive closure, as you've mentioned, can compel us to seize, and we freeze and we forget how to act, even though we know how to do it.
Yes.
And so cognitive tunneling is an immediate focus on the first thing that comes to our attention,
Yeah.
even if it's not the most important thing.
Yes.
So a lot of the time we say that cognitive closure causes cognitive tunneling.
Yes.
It does.
So if you think of it like how a horse has those blinders on it, so that it
The
only
blinkers
focuses
on
if it's,
the- on the race, on the
focus
race
on
that
the
it's
race,
running.
Don't get distracted by anything.
Yeah.
But in this context, we're saying that this cognitive tunneling is a negative thing. You don't want to be tunneled in on one thing when there might be information to the
Yes.
opposite,
Yes.
showing you that there's another option.
Alternative.
Exactly.
You see, my friends, the reason I ask this is because, and I want to ask this, is Uhuru guilty of those two? Is he guilty of cognitive closure and cognitive tunneling? And the reason I ask this is, last week I watched him at the Windsor, and he said, you see, Raila always advises me. He gives me good ideas, and they are better. He advises me, and I like them. Stop attacking Raila. And maybe he's right, all right? But in my view, I think people are encroaching, are encircling, are converging on Uhuru, and he does not realize it. If Parliament has the audacity to go after Huduma, and the person who's going after Huduma is Raila's hatchetman, Opiyo Wandayi, and other things are happening. The fight against corruption, not like there will be a statue for Uhuru for fighting corruption. If these things are happening and he's not seeing it, and as Kabogo said, Jeshi Tigenu, right? In Kikuyu, the army is not happy. If that is happening and he's not listening, what are the consequences of this? Is Uhuru being taken one way and he's not seeing an alternative?
Yeah.
And if he's being taken this one way, what is the end? How does the end look like if you took a picture of it?
But we also could be accused of cognitive tunneling. We as Kenyans and our approach to debt and what it means for us as a country.
Right.
So I think that today we are calling our own selves to action, as we do in our final thought.
Yes.
To look at our environment and see, are we, because we want to have a definitive answer, a definitive reason for all the things that the government is doing, tunneling and closing ourselves from other analysis that could tell us that the country is not as bad as it looks.
Yes.
This is Winning Headlines. We have no winning headline, but we do have a winning cartoon from Gardo. See you tomorrow.